Strength Warehouse presents Go Heavy or Go Home podcast. I am your host, Nate Boley. In this podcast, we talk about strength, fitness, nutrition, and all things Strength Warehouse related. Hello, and welcome to episode 3. In today's episode, Megan and I are talking powerlifting competitions. This last weekend, Megan and I got to attend the Kabuki Strength Showdown here in the Pacific Northwest over in Portland, Oregon. And we wanted to share all of our fun and talk about the meets and our upcoming meets in the future. So Megan, I know you had a couple of clients that competed, and how did they do?
Yeah, I had 2 clients that competed this last weekend, and they both did awesome. They both actually went 7 for 9, which means they got 7 out of their 9 attempts on their lifts.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they both compete in raw tested powerlifting, which means that they can use a belt, knee sleeves, and wrist wraps. So they both compete in that category. One of my clients, she did super awesome. They both did super awesome. One got a PR squat. She got full powerlifting state and national record for her deadlift. She got bench only national record and a deadlift only national record. My other client got a PR squat, all-time PR squat, and she is post total knee replacement, which is pretty awesome.
That's huge for sure.
They both had super successful meets. Neither of them had ideal meet prep. So the weeks leading up to the meet were not ideal for either of them. But they both showed up and they crushed it.
That's awesome. So what do you think as a meet in general, since we've been to many of them, what went really well in the meet?
I think that it was a very smooth meet. Sometimes there's some down moments or some hiccups along the way, whether it be technical or staffing or what it be. I think that it was a really smooth meet time-wise.
Absolutely. I was one of the staff of the meet. I was a referee on the blue platform, and I felt that for sure. There was a little chaos in the very beginning because there were some technical issues, but every time you run a meet, there's always something that happens. But as a whole, it was run very well, and there was very little downtime, which was awesome. Yeah, awesome. So you've been a meet director, a lifter, and a coach. What do you think is your most favorite out of those 3?
Coaching, absolutely. I've thought about this before, and people have asked me before what I prefer. Coaching through a meet is my most favorite. I have reffed a meet. I have competed.
You've reffed a meet?
Yeah.
I guess you did it was a mock meet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you did.
I've reffed, I've competed, and I've coached, and I've spectated. So my favorite is coaching for sure.
So I'm on the opposite end. I have lifted, coached, reffed, spectated, and meet directed. And I find the most fun for me is meet directing, even though it's very, very difficult. But in that day, when there's 60 people lifting with their just hearts on their sleeves, and just being able to help every single person, whether it's the referees or my volunteers or the coaches or the lifters, I just find it's super fun for that day, even though it's a lot of work and it's very stressful. What do people do wrong in a meet that you've seen as a coach?
This could take a minute, but I'll go with just the main
just
things
go with
that I
the
see
top 3
most frequently.
Yeah, top 3.
Number 1, they open too high, meaning their opening weight is way too challenging for them.
It's more like a PR instead of a securing your position.
Yes, you really should not get red lights on your opener.
I feel like your opener should be like a smoke show where it's so fast and so clean that you're not even there's no second guessing that you should have got that lift.
You should show up. You could be on your deathbed, possibly. and
you could have had the
still
flu. You could have the flu and still make that lift.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anything else?
Yes. Number 2, they beat the commands. They don't listen to the commands, and so they get red lighted. The worst is when they get red lighted. They've done the whole lift. They lifted it, but then it doesn't count because they beat the commands.
That's the worst. So what's your main, what do you think that exactly means? If a new lifter or a lifter beats the commands, what did they do wrong in their prep or going up to the meet?
They did not practice commands enough.
Probably, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
That's the main thing that I try to drill into my clients, is to practice with commands as much as possible.
I try to do every single lift, every rep, the week before the week of the meet, right? So 2 weeks out, every single rep you're practicing all the commands. And even before that, if they're really not acclimated to it, maybe their first meet, I'd even do maybe 3 weeks. We'll do 1 or 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even throughout training, I have them, they will hold their deadlifts at the top for a second before they descend, just to get in the habit of doing that.
That's the worst, when you know you have a lift and then you get beat out in a technical aspect, and it totally ruins your mental psyche, right? When you're I got red lighted in front of 250 people.
Yep. So my very first meet, in order to continue through a meet, you have to get one of your squats.
And bench.
And bench.
And deadlift.
And deadlift. But to start, you have to get a squat. And so you get 3 attempts. I did not get my first one. I did not get my second one. And that was the worst situation ever to be in. So
there was a lot of anxiety going on.
That was a long time ago. So I learned, and now I help my clients not get in that situation.
How did you get through that situation?
How did I get my third?
Yeah.
I was like, you go big or you go home.
I don't remember it that way at all. I believe it was me saying, you do not come up until I say come up.
Something like
That's
that.
pretty much how it went.
I don't know.
Either way.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. All right, so for all these new lifters that we have in our gym and people that we've signed up in our gym that are like, I'll never compete, who would you suggest to try a powerlifting meet?
Everyone.
100%.
Every single person.
I was just talking, and I'm going to name his name right now, is Tony. We were in the gym today, and we were talking about the meet in April, and he's like, well, I don't know if I could compete. And I was like, can you complete a 2-depth squat? He said, yeah. And I was like, can you complete a paused on your chest deadlift, or bench? He said, yes. And I said, can you complete a fully locked out deadlift? He said, yes. I said, you can compete. And then he turned the other way.
Tony, you can compete.
Tony, you can compete.
And you should.
You should, absolutely. All right. Helpful tips leading up to a powerlifting meet.
Yes. Number 1, get a coach. If you've never done a powerlifting meet, you don't know what you're doing, get a coach. And
so I'm gonna call out Janet here. She was wanting to cut her weight class and be as competitive as possible on her very first meet. And what we did as coaches was absolutely not. Don't even worry about what you're going to lift. Don't worry about what you're going to weigh. All you need to worry about is how to show up to the platform and learn the game. Learn how to do the powerlifting meet. You cannot expect to go into a basketball game, a football game, a soccer game without knowing how the game works and expect to win.
Yeah.
So there's no way you can be competitive in a powerlifting meet without knowing how the game works. And the only way to know how the game works is to get on a platform in a sanctioned meet and just give it your all. But don't worry about cutting weight. It's only going to add stress. Don't worry about what you're going to lift. It's only going to add stress. Just do the meet. There's always going to be a next meet. The next one in 2 or 3 months, we can talk about being competitive.
My second helpful tip is to have a plan. Go into the meet having somewhat of a plan, which I'm going to piggyback on that one, that my number 3 is not to freak out if that plan doesn't go how you laid it out, because that happens.
When you say a plan, elaborate more.
I will elaborate. Know what your opening weights are. Know that you are comfortable with those weights. Be confident with those opening weights. Have a estimated second attempt weight that you want to take and an estimated third attempt. And have kind of a backup plan, like if your first attempt felt way, way easier than you thought, have a backup plan of, okay, I could go up to this next. Or if it felt awful, have a backup plan of, I will take a smaller jump. And just know that there are variables on that day and nothing is set in stone.
So this is going to be like a piggyback on Rachel. When she has her plan set, it's like a straight face, meaning like it went okay. Mm-hmm. Like a smiley face means it went good. And then a flipping the table over emoji, which I didn't know for a long time. But a flipping the table emoji means let's go. Everything was amazing. Mm-hmm. And I'm going for an all-time PR on my third attempt. Yep. Now, for those of you who are new, I know this is a new thing because I've been in powerlifting for a long time, but the fourth attempts, OMG, get a handle on it. You don't need to take a fourth attempt unless for circumstances like the person that you're competing against is trying to break your records. Or you really feel like you have a little bit more in you. But you should, in my opinion, leave it all out on the floor on the third attempt and not even attempt a fourth attempt. Agreed?
I agree sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
okay. Well,
I have my peeps do fourth attempts.
It just depends. So like this last weekend, one of Megan's clients who had a potential hurt back, we started her really low. And we took a fourth attempt because her back was feeling amazing. But we started her so low that we were worried about the jumps going up. So that's a time to take a fourth attempt. And also, if you're going to break a record, or if somebody's going to break your record that's going after you. I guess, though, in my opinion, and maybe there's more that I haven't thought about, but that's, in my opinion, the only 3 that I can think of at this current spot. If you're just going to break your own PR by 2.5 kilos, save it for squat or save it for bench and deadlift or the next meet. That would be my suggestion. All right, helpful tips at the meet.
Number 1 would be stay hydrated, making sure that you are just fueling yourself correctly throughout the day. It's a really busy day, so you can easily skip meals, skip drinking water, skip electrolytes, and that will show in your lifts if you do that. Kareen.
Absolutely. I'm very guilty of this as well. I will just not eat very much at all or just snack. But one tip that I'll give you, and Megan will give you this too, is Sour Patch Kids. 100%.
Those are fire, yeah.
Those are fire. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even just like small snacks continuously throughout the day is fine.
Yeah.
But don't go hours without eating.
Or drinking.
And
then in between your lifts, go find somewhere where you can roll out, rest, take it easy, because each lift is like this giant adrenaline rush. Like squats, you're all anxious about squats. You have this huge adrenaline rush. As soon as you're done with squats, you go bam, you go back down. You have like an hour sometimes or more in between your next lift. And then you have to ramp back up for bench. You have to get all amped up, get hyped up, you get that adrenaline rush going again, and then you bench, and then it's down again after an hour and a half. And then you wait another hour and a half, and you got to get ramped up back again. So it's this huge roller coaster of adrenaline and cortisol and sleep and all this stuff. Maybe you sleep, I don't know. I never sleep during a powerlifting meet or the night before. But just making sure you're finding a quiet spot for yourself to roll out and just get your emotions and your your chi, if you will, centered, and then get ready to go back again. That would be my tips.
My other tip is to know when to warm up and when you need to be near the platform.
That's really freaking huge. That's a good one. Yeah.
Especially in this last meet was challenge. It was a very big and busy meet, and there was no way for like people warming up to know what's going on the platform, like where they're at in the flights, etc. So it was hard to judge.
Were those two TVs not working in the back?
No.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I saw those TVs and I was like, oh, they'll have good, and they did not know that.
No, they did not. So,
do you remember that first meet we did in Sisters? Not first meet, but Sisters meet. We were in the back room in the high school, and nobody knew what was going on.
It was that. So it was like me as a coach running my butt back and forth between the platform and the warm-up room continuously, just to kind of gauge the time frame.
And that's the other thing about having a really amazing coach is they will basically, you can just sit around until they say, okay, it's time to go. And then they're like, okay, it's time to rest. It's time to do this. It's time to do that. So that's super helpful. No, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay, helpful tips post-meet. So going out to dinner after the meet, we were talking to one of our clients, and she was like, well, what do I do next week?
Nothing. So prioritizing your rest and recovery in the following week of your meet is huge. I mean, you just put your body through a lot.
Hell.
Yeah, so you should prioritize your rest and recovery just as equally as you prioritize your workouts.
I 100% agree. I try to get myself in the gym a little bit and just do some super light recovery work, like stretching, maybe a little bit of some treadmill, bike, little tiny bit of some bodybuilder movements like biceps, triceps, stuff you don't really hit all the time, but you need to give your CNS, central nervous system, for those who don't know, and your muscles and your mind just some recovery.
Yeah.
And this is a fine line, because if you go too long, you can fall off the wagon. I've seen guys and women do a powerlifting meet and then they're gone for like 3 months out of the gym because they don't have a goal going forward. So that's my 2 cents, is having a little bit of recovery and then also having a goal for the next block, like getting right back into it, but letting your body recover also from the damage and the pressure that you just put on it.
Yeah, that was my number 2, was thinking about what you want to do next, like starting to think about a plan of what you want to do next, if it's another meet or it's just something to work towards, so you don't go down a weird dark rabbit hole.
Yeah, you don't want to go down those dark rabbit holes. Those are crazy. Been down a few of them myself. All right, Megan, as a lifter, when's your next meet?
I think in May.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to try to hit the one here in Redmond called, what's it called? The Muncie Bash?
Muncie
Mash. Muncie Mash.
Something.
Yeah, we're going to try to do that one. It's so nice to be able to lift in a meet that's in your hometown or even close. Most of the meets that I go to are a few hours away, and man, you got to get a hotel. It's just a huge ordeal. You got to go the night before so you can weigh in, all the BS that goes with that. So having one close by, 100%.
That we're not running.
Well, yeah, if you're running it, you can definitely not. If it's in the area, if it's in the Central Oregon area, you can bet your butt that Megan and I are going to run it. And we're not allowed to lift in meets that we're running. I have no clue when my next meet is. I've thought about one this year, but the schedule for this year has gotten very busy, and I'm still not 100% where I want to be. If I find one that makes sense, I will for sure do it, but I don't know what that's going to look like this year.
Nate's being real hypocritical right now when he says he's not where he wants to be, so he's not going to compete, because he tells people to compete no matter what all the time.
That's true, but I also have an injury that I'm still milking, so...
Yeah, so I'll give it to you.
I'll give that one to me. I want to do a full competition, not just a push-pull. I haven't crossed that line in my head yet. I have not been able to squat really that great for a while now without pain, and so I'm trying to mitigate that. But also, it's a commitment for me because I have to go out of the area, not out of the state, but out of the area, get a hotel, the whole 9 yards, and I haven't found a meet that I want to do yet. But if that does come up, and I'm pretty much in meet prep, within 4 weeks I could be in meet prep almost any time. So if one comes up, I will for sure get on it. We wanted to talk a little bit about our upcoming meets. So we have April 15th, our Outlaw Open meet in Sisters, Oregon at level 5 CrossFit. It's a non-tested meet, super fun, great venue. We have a lot of good gifts and prizes, best team prizes, all that stuff. We have a couple of lifters from our gym going, and we definitely have already 2 teams that have signed up. And hopefully we can get some people from our teams. I think we'll have 4, if I count right, from our gym. We need 6. So if you're listening from our gym, Tony, I need you to sign up, be on our team. Let's go. July, haven't figured out the exact date, but we think it's going to be the 28th of July, is our Summer Strength Wars, our annual Summer Strength Wars. This is our 4th year?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 4th year. We do it outside. The only meet that I know of in the United States that's a USPA that's outside. So that's freaking awesome. It's got a backdrop of the mountains. It's like 90-something degrees usually. We have a great time. We have a great warm-up area in the gym. Anyway, super awesome. Love to see you there. October is our next one. We haven't decided if we wanted to do a Masters only, which would be 35 and up, or a full meet. But that's also going to be at level 5 in Sisters. Level 5 CrossFit in Sisters. I grew up in Sisters, and I really like the area. And CrossFit level 5, they have a really nice, super awesome powerlifting facility and CrossFit facility, and they allow us to use their space, promote their gym as well. So that will be coming as well. Let's see, anything you have to say about those, Megan?
No, they're just both super fun.
They're all super fun, and we're also looking for sponsors. So if you guys are looking for sponsorships for meets, please email us at info@bendstrengthwarehouse.com. We have some pricing tiers and stuff like that to get your name out there and help you guys advertise your businesses. So any last minute updates or things you want to talk about?
No.
I'd say if you guys are on the fence about lift or doing a powerlifting meet, like, why not? Like, what's the worst that can happen? You have one of the best teams in Oregon helping you out. National referees, coaches. There's zero chance that you're going to fail on the platform. And even if you absolutely did fail on the platform, we would be able to help you out through that through the next thing. But competition helps us become our best versions of ourselves, and it's also so much fun. We also use competitions in our gym to help people with what we call like the short-term sprints, right? So we all want to lift forever, we all want to be fit, but unless we have short-term goals, a lot of the times those goals can go to the wayside, right? You see those people are like,
yes,
I want to be fit forever. And then 6 months later, they're gone.
Yes.
So having a short-term goal is really optimal in helping you take small steps for a lifelong change and a lifelong lifting career and fitness career.
That's why I compete, is to have a goal to work towards. I'm not like no national or state record. I'm not anywhere near any of that. I just do it to motivate myself and to have fun.
I'm almost the same. I have state records now, but it literally took me 10 years to get a state record. 10 years.
I have Shariah in my weight class, so I'll never have state. record.
Shariah she's already been to Worlds, and did she place in Worlds? I don't even remember now.
Yeah.
Took like number 1.
I think she got
what a
gold.
badass.
Yeah.
What a badass.
Yeah.
So that may happen, unfortunately. Like, I had, Peter Wynn in my class when I was in the Open, and he was smoking me on all my lifts. And we had an 8-year difference. Now that I'm in the Submasters, I am finally competitive, which I've had some records in, and I'm looking forward to Peter when he comes into the Submasters as well. But anyway, like I said, you always will have. There's always going to be somebody stronger out there than you, but talent is not always the winning factor. A lot of the times, dedication and knowledge and having the right people in your corner can outwin talent. So just remember, you might be the diamond in the rough.
And if you need a coach, let me know.
And if you need a coach, we're here for you. Anyway, that is the end of our podcast. Thank you very much for staying with us for 27 minutes. This is our longest podcast to date. Episode 3, all about powerlifting. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey of strength. If you liked this episode, please leave us a review and share with a friend. To stay connected, hit that subscribe button. All right, until next time, go heavy or go home.